Hey y'all, welcome to another episode of We Made the Change.
I'm made the change.
Here with my co-host, Money Mel.
Yes, indeed. We in the house.
Y'all, we got something special for y'all today. We got our first guest.
First guest.
You excited?
I am excited. I'm
excited.
gonna ask him to borrow some money after we get done.
Me too.
Yeah.
You ready? You ready?
Got a couple dollars. Got to talk to my manager first.
Okay, y'all. Mr. Brian Clendenen, a.k.a. what? Let's Get It Mindset?
Let's get it mindset. Yes,
Okay.
indeed.
Yes,
welcome,
yes.
welcome, B. Yeah.
Nice to be here. Nice to be here.
Good.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
glad
yeah.
you're here. So we're gonna dive right into it.
Okay, sounds good.
You know what we talk about on the podcast?
Yeah.
The mindset it takes to get to the next level. And let me let y'all in on something. I didn't watch him evolve from boy to man. I'm so proud of him, y'all.
Young grasshopper.
Thank
Young
you.
grass- You're an old grasshopper.
I'm old.
You're a young grasshopper.
Yeah, young grasshopper.
So yeah, I didn't watch him. I'm beyond proud, y'all.
Yeah, yeah.
So let's start it
Doesn't
off.
it feel good to be seeing your own people evolve and you can be proud of them?
Absolutely.
Somebody that look like you and come from where you come from and actually be able to say, dang, I'm proud of you. I don't think we say that enough to each other in
We
our
do
community.
not. Tell me.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Let's go.
I told y'all here. Hey,
I'm proud of you, girl. I'm proud of you.
Thank you. Okay, so where you grow up at? Let's start there.
Well, we moved around a lot, but we stayed in Dallas. Mainly, I grew up in East Dallas projects and South Dallas. So, yeah, that's where I mainly grew up at.
Okay, you from South Dallas too, right?
I am.
Okay.
I am. You didn't want to rep us last time.
Because I'm not from South Dallas.
I mean, you've been there several
it's
times.
a lot of people been there.
Whatever.
Like, golly.
Whatever.
Okay.
Whatever, Oak Cliff.
How was it growing up there?
It was just home to me. That's all I knew.
Yeah.
You know, so for me, it was, I want to say great, you know, but at the same time, you know how it is growing up in the hood when you grow up and it's just fun being outside, kids running around everywhere, your parents outside drinking and, you know, chilling on the green box, you know, those kind of days.
I know about
so,
the green box.
the green box. So, you know, growing up as a kid, you know, I looked at it as fun, you know, but many adventures, I would like to say.
Okay.
I think because of the times that we came up in, it's not social media and we didn't see a lot. So what we saw in our communities was everything. Like honestly, we probably thought everybody was living like we living.
Exactly.
Because you didn't go far.
Exactly.
We didn't have GPS. Nah, we had a book.
Well,
You're right.
I used to go far because I used to get on my bicycle and be all the way up Sain into Pleasant Grove and be places I shouldn't have been.
He thought he was out of town, too.
Yeah, and I thought I was out of town. Yeah, exactly. 4 miles away. Exploring, yeah.
But that ain't too different from where you are. It's a little different.
Yeah,
but,
exactly.
you know,
Exactly.
how did you, when you start going to other places, how did that make you feel? How did that make you start looking at things?
Man, you know what? It's funny because, like, if you're going up into Sain, you start seeing more houses, right?
Yeah.
I used to think that was a rich neighborhood.
Really?
Yeah, like coming from the projects.
Yeah.
Coming from the projects, seeing them houses, I thought those was the, you know, so, you know, even as an adult, I used to ride, you know, drive around rich neighborhoods just to get inspiration. I was doing that as a kid on my bicycle with my home. Let's go up around here to the, you know, to where these houses at and just, you know, and that really was just middle class. So I thought middle class was high class.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think it was like that because, of course, not seeing much in our neighborhoods growing up. Because, like I said, I'm from South Dallas, East Dallas as well. Grew up on Metropolitan all my life. But when you go into those middle-class neighborhoods and that's all you see, you really not even basing it off of your circumstances and your situation. You just going, dang, they got some money. They got a garage.
Compared to where we come from, yeah.
They got a trampoline in their backyard.
Oh, my goodness.
Hop the gate, go in their backyard. No.
Did you do that?
I done jumped on a few trampolines.
Yeah, we ain't gonna get him in trouble. But he probably jumped on some gates.
I done brought some dogs. I done brought some puppies home.
You know what's crazy though? When you look at those situations and go back and say, I drove through neighborhoods and I was looking at these houses. That right there, I think, even without us knowing, because I remember I used to do the same thing, and I'm pretty sure you did the same thing.
I still do it.
You still do it.
To different neighborhoods is more affluent than mine. I'd say.
I think you already register your mind to think outside the box.
Exactly.
Because I got family members who ain't leaving the hood.
Yeah.
Like they 700, 800 square feet homes that they grew up in. They still living in their grandma house and their mama house, and that's it. And I don't think they evolve enough to say, let me go look at something different. So that right there alone says a lot,
Right.
even at a young age.
Yes.
Yeah.
You had that mindset as a child.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is
What's that mindset? What's that mindset?
We made the change.
Yeah, we
made
made
the
the
change.
change. We made the change. Yeah. But first, you got to know that it's even possible.
Yes.
You know,
Right.
because a lot of people, if they don't know that it's possible, they don't know the reach.
So
know,
did
they
you
don't
see anybody in your environment that gave you an opportunity to say something is possible, even with you not knowing that I possibly want something other than what I got, because I don't really see a lot other than what I got?
No, I really didn't see nobody in the neighborhood except for the usual drug dealers and stuff like that. Of course, we would see them shine, but I was always just going outside of the box. You know, even I was having a discussion about this the other day where I said I've always thought outside of the box, and people really don't realize how small the box really is. You know, and if you just try just a little bit to think outside of the box, but I think for most people, thinking outside of the box is a fear. You know, because there's no guidance outside of the box.
Yes.
So it's you know, I'm not gonna do that, or I don't know. That's, you know, even for a lot of people, that's that white people stuff.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
like,
Didn't we just talk about this?
We did.
Yeah.
Did you have like parental support? Like, did they spark that interest? Like,
nah. The only support I had an uncle, but he was actually in jail. He was in prison. And he used to say little stuff to me that even back then, like, I could still remember the day.
Yeah.
You know, like little stuff like, you know, man, hey, man, the world is bigger than that over there, or, you know, never sell out, you know, or even never selling out, you know, reached to even growing up and just in other things, in other areas, or like not selling out my people. You know what I mean? Not, you know, it's like little stuff like that where he always told me it was more, you know, past those train tracks, you know, and this, you know, do this and do that. He would say, look, even though he was in prison and I would talk to him, he would say those little things that would spark a little something in me, you know, that would make me go a little bit further than the people that are around me.
That's crazy.
I think we get lost on that, you know, where we grow up, what we see every day. I think we get lost and forget that there is a world outside of where we live. I see a lot of people doing that.
Well, if you're not exposed to much, you know what I'm saying? Nowadays, it's easy to get exposed to a lot of things because of social media. But we wasn't exposed to nothing like at all. I remember in high school, us leaving Samuel High School, we had a field trip to Six Flags. In my mind, Six Flags is so far.
It did seem like it was
seemed
far.
like it was
did,
so far. And I remember coming down 35, thinking, y'all know the split between 35 and 67 going through Oakland?
Yeah.
We coming down 35. Now, you know both of them go to 20.
Yeah.
20 goes to Arlington to take you to Six Flags. Yeah. This how lost we were. We coming down 35, and we celebrating the fact that we split off to go 67, thinking that we was going the right way instead of going 35 because we didn't know where we was going just to get to the same location. Yeah. But that just shows you how small that box is that you was talking about when you live in the communities that we grew up in. So it's just interesting going through that. So your uncle, he in jail, and you going to visit him, I'm assuming.
It was letters. Okay. You know, even if he was calling home to talk to my mom, and, you know, he would even send toys. You know, he was a drug dealer, and when he went to prison, I guess he had a little, because I would always receive stuff. You know, toys.
Shout out to the uncles on lockdown, still sending presents.
He's still sending presents and sending there like, hey, man, like, you know, he sent me a bike. Like, how did he do that?
He got pulled. Yeah, that's what's up, man. So he was an influencer without even knowing he was an influencer at the time.
Didn't know what he was trying to do. He was just trying to have me to be different than the rest of the family. So he would talk to me and, you know, just, hey, man, this is different. I know your other uncle's telling you this and that. Hey, man, don't listen to them. Yeah. It's, you know, because he was actually the baby uncle. Yeah. You know, he was the youngest one. looking up to his older brothers, you know. And so when it came to me, he was like, I know that they trying to teach you this and that.
Yeah.
But hey, man, dude, don't follow them because I'll follow them. Look where I'm at.
Yeah.
You know, so that kind of thing. Yeah.
And I know you got younger brothers. Do you spark that interest in them?
Say, with my little brothers, I've definitely sparked that interest in them. But with them, you know, I'm starting something even new with them to where I'm saying, you know, y'all gonna be my new, not just project, but like my clan. You know, I feel like everybody have to have a clan, or people are like-minded people around them, and them at a very young age is, you know, like talking to. I got pictures on my Facebook even with my little brother Marcus. When I ran the moving company, he was with me. You know, some certain things I did, I've always had him with me just to show him like, hey man, you know, I might have got this at this age, but you're gonna get it even younger. And then my youngest brother, you know, my youngest brother now is 21, and his credit already A1. You know, like he's already really set up in even in ways that he don't even know what I done for him. You know, like he don't even know. I ain't gonna let him know that I did this for him years ago, and this is actually taking off. You know, but I'm just gonna let that sit to whenever he ready to buy a house or something. But is creating your community. So the younger people in my family coming up under me, I don't even think they know how blessed they are to have.
That
be
is
in a
blessing.
position to, you know.
I don't think you recognize that until you face the reality of having to utilize it.
Yeah, exactly.
So what sparked the interest of making you feel like that was something that you needed to do?
Well, it was because I feel like for the most part, everything I've done, I had to pioneer into it. Like I didn't really have no guidance. And with me not having no guidance, I made a lot of mistakes. You know what I mean? Like, I've gotten used to making mistakes to where I feel like mistakes are just a part of the process. You know,
it is.
You know, you know, mistakes,
it definitely is.
Yeah, mistakes and failure and setbacks. You know,
they lessons.
Yeah, exactly. And then you get up and go back into it. But a lot of people, if they don't know that that's part of the process, they'll make one mistake or they'll fail one time. And they'll stop. It'll stop their momentum. And hey, man, I need to go get a job. I need to go do this. I need to go do that. Which, if you need to get a job or something like that to maintain yourself, fine. But, you know, don't let failure stop you to where, you know, you don't want to make no progress.
Right.
You know, what's that? It's a quote by Robert Greene. You know, fear is a sort of a prison that confines you within a limited range of action. You know, so it's like having fear in that limited range of action. You don't want to go outside of that because everything outside of that is, you know,
terrifying.
Fearful. Yeah, it's terrifying. You know? So even when I'm talking to like my mentees or people in my program, most of the time I'm not even battling the knowledge that they know because most of them know. I'm usually having to reaffirm them. You know, like hey, you can do this. It's possible. You can do this. You can do this. You're just afraid. You know, I'm not telling you nothing you don't know. You just need me to confirm that you need to make this move. You know? So that's what I'm doing even with my little brothers.
And look, y'all, we always preach about being in the right environment. He telling y'all. There you go.
And that's so valuable because these guys need it. They need it on a whole different level. You say you told your brother at 21 now has established credit. So
he don't even know though.
He don't even know. When did
it's probably good.
At
that age.
I wish I would have knew. What age? Because I'm gonna say for me and Crystal, what age for you? I didn't even know nothing about credit until I probably got about 24, 25.
Yeah, that's when. Yeah.
And by that time, I already had four light bills in my name, a couple of phone bills in my name that I ain't start.
I bought a house at 21, and I feel like it was off a fluke. Like, let me see if they gonna give it to me, and they gave it to me. But I didn't know anything about credit.
I wouldn't even know what to do with a house at 21. There probably been parties and everything else going on. No good. So when did you learn that credit was something that you need to educate yourself?
Maybe around 25, 26. You know, before then it was cash is king.
Right.
I need to see. You know, if I ain't had the cash to pay for it, then I can't afford it. Okay. You know, it's like if it ain't cash, it ain't. People will talk about credit. Loans, I'm like, nah, that's what you know, that's
the white folks stuff.
Yeah. I didn't exactly.
So
you know, so cash was king to me. But if I know what I know now, I would have been using credit and loans, and every time I get $1, it would have been put up. You know what I mean? Every dollar is mine, put up. Don't even touch it. Use their money, you know, to fund this and fund that. Get factoring companies and get that. You know, like far as in my money, everything need to be easy. Not, I ain't gonna even say save because I don't even believe in saving. Everything need to go into investments.
Yeah,
you know, if it's mutual funds, if you get yourself a broker, if you whatever you do with your personal money, it just need to be invested. Because even money that's sitting still in savings is
not making no money.
Nah, it's you losing the money because inflation rates and you know the value of the dollar is always going down every year. You know, so.
So how do you change a young 21-year-old mindset to think like that?
Man, that's hard because like with my little brother, right? I can remember first. I'm gonna remember me.
Mm-hmm.
You couldn't tell me nothing. You couldn't, especially a young man. You know what I mean? Like we feel like we already know everything.
Yeah.
What I do is I just plant seeds.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I don't expect him to learn everything. What I do is I say something, and I leave it alone.
Like your uncle did you.
Yeah, exactly. You know,
yeah.
and then you got to let them kind of figure it out to where, you know, oh, I see what you were talking about when you said this and that. You know what I mean? Now you get it. You know, and he's usually coming to, okay, so what about this and that? Plant a seed.
Yeah.
You know, so I was always just planting seeds, and him, even my son just turned 17. So I'm always planting seeds because I don't really expect them to get it because some things to understand you got to experience it. You know, you can't learn. You can't be told everything. Some things you have to experience it a little bit to even grow. Because I look at, you know, like I actually went back to school. I went back to school to get a degree and everything. But I did that for my kids so they can see like, hey, now y'all might have to go to school because y'all didn't get the experiences that I had got at a young age. So even though y'all have me here to teach y'all, I want y'all to still go to school and do this and do that.
So when you say you had to go back to school, what was school education like for you?
Well, you know what's funny? When I was younger, I was always really smart, you know, and when it came to being in class A's, why I would fail is because I was always questioning everything. You know what I mean? So if a teacher said, hey, Brian, I need you to do this assignment, I would be like, how am I going to benefit from this? Yeah. How does knowing this history assignment and filling in the blanks, how does this is stupid. Yeah. You know what I mean?
You know them teachers was at home talking about it. I'm so tired of his little smart ass.
Wait till you get out of my class.
Real talk. Teacher asked, I remember teacher telling mom, and my mama was just talking about this the other day because I guess she was just impressed. She like, and that teacher had the nerves to say you wasn't gonna make it. You was gonna be a failure.
Wow,
I just
that's crazy.
Yeah, I just questioned everything, and I questioned my way out of school. Like this is stupid. I need to get to the money.
So when did you drop out of school?
Well, I was already in and out of school anyway, cause from being suspended, from a fighter, it was always something, you know. But when I officially left school, it was because I really had to become an adult at a young age. You know what I mean? Like it was my mama, me, my first little brother, my youngest brother wasn't here yet, but it was just us, and mama was struggling. Yeah. And I was like, I need to get to the money. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like going to school, I'll go back to school later, you know, but I need to get to the money. I need to make something happen where I can pay the light bill and I can do this. So at a young age, I was put in an adult position, you know, so in school just wasn't it at that time.
Yeah. That's a reality for a lot of us. Like, what would you tell somebody that's going through that right now?
Man, you know what? It's for somebody that's going through that, it's hard. Because it's like they're really to be put in that position, you're put with your back up against the wall, and you really in survival mode. Yes, you know, and when you go into survival mode, certain things don't matter to you at that moment. That later on it will make sense to you. Right, you know. Right. So if it's somebody younger in that situation, I might even have to say, I mean, I don't want to be a bad influence, but at that same, I might say, man, if you can't do school right now, man, just get your GED. And because to be honest, by the time I got out of high school, ain't nobody even asked me for that. You know what I mean?
I ain't put that on one application.
I ain't put it on one
to this day. I've never put that on an application. I ain't never asked to show a degree or nothing.
Yeah, exactly. I just have it. You know, the only time I was even asked for the GED is when I, at an adult age, decided to go back to college. That's when it was just like, hey, let me see your transcript from your GED or this and that and that. And then it mattered, but that was 15 years ago, you know.
And we all got businesses. We don't ask for that. No.
No.
Nah,
None of our employees I've ever asked them about their degrees or nothing like that.
We not trying to talk.
Nah,
against
we don't
education.
want
No, we're not trying to talk
Don't
against
get it
education.
twisted.
Don't get
We're
it.
not doing that.
Because I'm gonna whoop my kids' butt if they don't come down.
But I feel like education is needed for some people. You know what I mean? Like, of course, we might have been put in a situation where we had to get out and get it, but our educations came from the streets, came from society. Our education came from out in the real world. You know, kids like my kids don't have them same experiences of having to get out there. They don't really know how we got a PS5 in the living room. My daughter got one in her room. My son got one in his room. They got virtual headsets. They think exactly. My son's 17. At 17, you know, I had my own apartment already.
Yeah.
You know, I already had my own place, big screen TVs, leather couch.
I heard about that.
At 17, I was a straight teenager. You know what I mean?
You was an adult.
Yeah, I was an adult.
You living like an adult.
Right.
And I was talking to even women that was 23, 24, 25 because of what I had. They thought I was that age. So I used to lie like I'm 25. You know? But I had the assets to prove like,
to back it up.
Like, okay, maybe he is that until they see my ID. Boy, you a child.
You gonna get somebody
For all you women out there that know young Brian, y'all better stop it.
Stop it. Sorry, I put you in that position.
But you know, I think for a lot of, especially us, because we're entrepreneurs, I think a lot of successful entrepreneurs have that similar story.
Yeah.
And I think I think me and you talked about this the other day, with our kids now, what is going to be their struggle to push them to have that Lambo drive that we got? Because we give them everything.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
There's a saying, I don't know who said it, but
somebody said it.
somebody said the saying, well, hard times make for good time and good time makes for hard times. You know, and so when I think about me going through hard times and making it good times for my kids, hoping that, okay, I don't need to make it too good for them because I don't want their kids to not go through hard times because they didn't learn the lessons that I should have taught them. So now, you know, at first it was all about spoiling them and giving them everything that they need. And then when they got to a certain age, maybe my son got to about 14, 15, I realized like, man, I'm spoiling you, but now I'm realizing you don't know how to do anything if I don't tell you.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, you don't clean your room or you don't do this. Or, you know, when I was 12, 13, I was already trying to get money, you know, and now, you know, getting money wasn't on his mind. You know, now
what do you need to get money for?
Yeah, exactly. Like,
hey, look, I struggle with that with my kids.
Yeah.
Because I'm like you said, you want to give them everything, but they not going to know how to do nothing. Like, I think I'm making it... Can't say that on here. But I'm making them weak, in my opinion. Like, you gotta struggle. Like, it teaches you. It takes you. I know what you're finna say, because we didn't have that conversation before too. But I feel like you have to go through a struggle to get to where you need to be. Like, if everything is given to you, you never have to work for nothing.
I think for our kids. Okay, let's rewind. Let's look at our parents' education. My mom didn't graduate from high school. My dad, I think he graduated, but he did nothing after that. I didn't graduate from high school. So education wasn't on the forefront of our upbringing.
I'm the opposite.
But you the opposite, so that's kind of weird but I think that's what led you into the profession of saying, I can go be a nurse. Yeah. I can go this direction. I didn't have that. Yeah. I'm pretty sure Brian didn't see that. But I think for our kids, since they are not going to have that financial struggle that we had growing up, education is going to be pushed even harder because now they get to see what education can do for you.
Right.
Exactly.
That's what we didn't get.
Exactly.
We didn't get
what we probably push it harder because we didn't
absolutely,
get it.
Absolutely. And I think that's what's going to be the separating value of their success and our success.
Exactly.
They'll be able to go see something because I tell my wife all the time, our kids are going to be able to do and see things that I couldn't even imagine.
Especially at that age.
At that age?
Yeah.
I couldn't even imagine. Like, these kids are super smart. Like, my daughter brought me some homework. She in the 3rd grade, brought me some homework the other day. Chat GPT when I need it.
and I noticed that even with my son, I asked him to, I'm cheating on my homework a little bit, but he got on the computer and he was, he was so. I was like, wait a minute, you mean to tell me
like this?
Yeah, I really am. Like this. And he get off in there, and I'm just like, wait a minute, for his generation. He been on this like computers and everything. Since day one. So of course him getting on there typing, like, bro, how fast you type? Oh man, like in between 90 to 100 words a minute. And I'm just like, I'm like, what? Yeah, exactly. Boy, where you at, Daddy? Like 14, 15? Like, and don't let me spell it wrong. Now I got to start all the way over, So.
And we all took computers because that's when they used to offer. We all took that.
I was skipping that class every time I got opportunity.
Exactly.
That dial-up was too slow for me. I ain't finna sit in and wait on that dial-up.
I was just playing games. So we get on the computer, on the rocket ships and asteroids.
They advance. But I feel like when it's time to, like, when life happens to you, because life don't hit you, I don't want them to fold. That's my thing.
Exactly.
But the beauty behind it is they got us to
supportive
parents to be able to communicate. I know now as an adult, I go to my parents maybe for old school support, maybe, but there's nothing that I don't know now that I need to go to my parents and say, can you help me with this or can you help me with that?
Yeah.
From a learning perspective.
I
think our kids go forever be teaching us, to be honest. They go teach us a lot. And I think we're great because of our success and what we've learned over the years of growing up through struggle and learning how to survive. We will be able to intake that information and push us to a whole different level.
Exactly.
Let me ask y'all this, because as a woman, and me and my husband, we have conversations about this. We've had conversations about it. You probably had conversations with him about it. Like, I think it's different from men, but you touched on it. You said that you plant the seed. I don't know how many women are like me, kind of fuss. Like, I want you to get it. You came from me.
You want to know how many like you?
Don't start.
All of them like you.
But I'll be so on them because I'm like, I want you to get it. I want you to get it. Something that came from me got to be great. But how do y'all deal with that as a man? Because my husband get on me. He basically say what you say. You got to let them go at their own pace. Plant the seed. But it's so hard.
Yeah. You got. I tried it. At one point in time, I felt like I was an overbearing parent. I've learned to ease up because what I realized, I used to be hard, and I had to learn how to be soft.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
That's a lot. That's something you definitely gotta learn.
I didn't even know how hard I was. Even when people are like, you so hard on your kids, I'm like, man, because they got to be successful.
They come from survival mode.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
And then I used to be in mixed martial arts. On top of that, so when because I thought fighting was going to be a way out, I was even fighting. So I even trying to teach my kids, and I must have like videoed us one day, me training them, and I watched the video, and I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna go to jail. Like, oh my God, I'm hard on them. But in that mode, you don't realize how hard you are on them, and you almost got to get outside of yourself.
You do.
And see, and me watching a video of me training them. Even at that, I realized how hard it was, and I actually started to back up off of it. And like, okay, they're gonna learn at their own pace. But I was trying to instill in them something that I learned from the streets and from out that I'm like, man, they're not gonna get it. I want them to be able to survive.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Nobody to take advantage of them. And stuff.
Exactly, things like that. And my son, my daughter, she's a little faster than my son. Like my daughter, she's
most
like
women are faster than us.
Thank you.
Yeah, I get you out there.
But my son, even though he's good, he's a little bit more loving. You know what I mean? And I was like, man, I don't want nobody to take advantage of him. Like, say, man, and he can fight. You know, because I've always trained him. But he even the fights he have had, it was because people thought he was soft, but didn't know that he can really fight. But he might get took advantage of over little friendly stuff. People, in school, or hey man, let me hold that dollar from you. And he give him $1. Like, Now what
like,
you
bro,
eat
what you doing, bro? Like, you tripping?
Now how you gonna eat if you gave your dollar?
Right.
But I think it's a lot because, like Crystal said, we come up in survival mode, so we're taught to be, especially black men coming up in the hood.
Yeah.
You better not be soft.
Yeah, exactly.
Our kids are not coming up like we coming up, so they have a little bit more freedom to be a little bit more soft than we have to, because they don't have to walk around being tough all day.
Exactly.
Like my kids, they go to a school where our fashion that we come up in was not. It's not prominent. These kids don't care about shoes, clothes, none of that.
Nice.
They wear Crocs every day.
Exactly.
Like
and pullovers in the summer.
Yeah, they could care less. Like it's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to look at my kids and go, your struggle will never be my struggle. Because we had to have it. You better be waiting in line for them J's. You better have some on you ain't coming to school.
Yeah.
So it's different.
If you had a little, you had to make it look good.
Right,
you better.
Cause them jeans stay starchy.
Oh, man, you better get the Stay Flow.
that Stay Flow. I used to keep that
Y'all telling
crease.
our age for real.
Yeah, I'm glad you're going to agree.
I had to keep my clothes clean.
Yeah.
And maybe that's even why I'm on cause my kids, I noticed I walked into them and they got an abundance of clothes.
Yes.
Just on my regular day out, if I see something I think yeah, like that, I'm buying. I'm steady buying for them.
Yeah.
And but when I was younger, I only had maybe 4 good shirts.
Yes.
And maybe just a couple of jeans.
Yes.
And maybe one pair of shoes. And I stayed clean because I had to keep it clean.
Yes.
You know,
They ain't got to keep it clean.
Yeah, they ain't got to keep it clean. They might wear something and I'll never see it again, and it's lost in the closet somewhere. You know.
Yeah.
So, but it's certain things that we got to teach them, and I realize that they do look at us as an example. You know, and they may even want to follow in our footsteps, which is good, to follow in my footsteps. But one thing about me, I've always wanted to have a backup plan or something I can fall back on, And what I always fell back on was like my grit of knowing that I don't know what it is. If I get put in a corner, I'll become successful. I don't know what it is about a diverse situation that makes me turn into an animal that all of a sudden I'm back up.
Yeah.
I wanted to give them whatever back, but they didn't got that animal in them.
Yeah.
And one day, my son and daughter, we were talking, and they was just like, I'm telling you, go to school and this and that. Cause I'm like, your backup plan, you need to go to school.
Yeah. You ain't got it right now.
You ain't got the grip, but you need to go to school. If you fall back, at least fall back on a bachelor's degree.
Right.
Or a master's degree or something like that. And my daughter said, why would I need to do that? You didn't get your education, and you turned out just fine. And that echoed in my head for a while, and I'm just like, man, I'm gonna go do this because now I need to prove to them that I've done it, so they can't even use that excuse no more. Like you didn't do it, Yeah. So now I went ahead and went back to school. Not even really for me, because to be honest, I didn't really need it. And what's funny is even with me going through school, I would learn the stuff that I already self-educated myself on anyway. Like researching and by the time I started getting on the computer and figuring out what a computer, like getting on the internet, like I was already self-teaching myself a lot on top of mistakes, so I'm learning from mistakes. So, but now that I went through school and now that I talk to my daughter about, their future, they can't say that no more. That can't be their excuse to not further their future of you did it or, you didn't do it, so we ain't got to. So, yeah, I just wanted to always make sure they have a backup plan and, at least to where if I was to pass away one day, they have what it takes to survive. And as a father, I feel like if I passed away, if I left them with enough skills, I've done my job.
Absolutely.
That's what we all want.
Yeah, absolutely. Because that money don't mean nothing if they ain't got the skill set. Because they can lose their money fast.
Exactly.
Fast. And I think that takes a lot to put yourself in the mindset of, I want to go further my education, so I want them. Because I was raised up thinking, and I tell people this all the time, kids see you, they don't listen to you. Exactly. So they watch everything you do. My dad was a worker. That's all he did was work. Like, he just stayed at work. So in my mind, when I grow up, I just need to work.
Yeah, exactly.
Work. So you out of school. Let's go back. You out of school. You've dropped out. you're now 17-year-old, living like you grown. Got all the way. Never mind. You got this hustle mentality because I think coming from the environments, that's what you look at. I got a hustle mentality. Yeah. How do you convert over to now I need to change the way I'm doing things to make sure that I sustain this level of life that I'm trying to live? What was that looking like?
Man, what I realized, I was a young hustler. So when I mean hustling, not just no drugs, anything. I'm talking about CDs, DVDs, clothes out of my trunk. Like you remember, I'm not kidding. Yeah. Whatever I put my hands on, I could sell it. I could whatever it was. I could sell anything.
And how old were you at this time?
16, 17.
That's crazy. That's a skill set, bro.
It was, man.
That's a skill set.
You ever see them kids walk around with the blue buckets?
Absolutely.
Like, how you doing? Program?
Yeah.
I was one of them kids.
You just talked about that.
Oh, yeah.
I heard about that.
Yeah, you heard about that? Yeah. Hey, man, I was as that kid because I realized, like, wait a minute. So I can go to the dollar store, buy something for $1 and sell it for $4 or $5. But why would they need to buy it for $4 or $5? I'm going to go to the store. I need to have a purpose behind it. It need to have a meaning behind it for me to sell it.
And you thinking about this at 16, 17 years old?
At 14, 13,
that's
I was thinking.
Crazy.
I was already paying bills doing this.
Yes.
So I was already, that's why, like, when I went to Atlanta and I saw the Water Boys and I saw, certain, I bought the water because I said they could be jacking.
Yeah. You definitely better buy the water. They will. Them YNs will get you.
So I was just like, but it's like they don't really know. Like, I look at them, I'm really proud of them.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Yes. They looked at, okay, I can go buy this 24-pack of waters for $3-4. It's 24 in there. If I sell them for $1 a piece, I make $24.
Yes.
That's how I was thinking at a young age myself. So, but then when I go from being young and I already making those kind of moves, and having wise $1 bills like this, and I'm feeling like I'm balling,
You were.
I was. I go to school and be like, you need some lunch money?
Yeah.
You want $1?
Girl, I got you, girl.
You want
girl, let me buy you that.
Tricking early. But I realized when I started getting older, those same attributes is what goes over into business.
Absolutely.
Right.
It's, I realized when I started actually running business, I'm doing the same thing. It's just now I'm putting a title behind it. You know what I mean? I'm marketing now. You know what I mean? I'm buying wholesale and selling retail. I'm upselling. I'm putting a word for it, but really I'm doing the exact same thing I'm doing now. So I didn't even know I was putting myself through a training of getting older and doing almost the same thing. But now I just have a professional name behind it.
It didn't have I don't think it had a title back then when we were coming up. Entrepreneurship wasn't a thing in those days.
Go get a job.
It's just a hustler.
Yeah,
You're just a
hustler
hustler trying to make some money.
Yeah, exactly.
So what was your first business?
Man, which one? I can't even. I've had so many.
Not the dollar for dollar business, but the mindset of I'm gonna turn this into a legit business.
It was trucking. Trucking was probably like my actual legit business to where I was like, okay, I see the potential in this, and since I already know how to, double up on things, so I know how to make things like, okay, then I'm gonna get this one truck. How much money I'm gonna be making every week? Okay, then if I buy this one truck for $15,000 and I'm making $3,000, $4,000 a week, I can buy another truck in like a month or 2 months. Then I'll have two trucks buying, making $3,000, $4,000, and I can buy a third one even faster. So that's literally how I was saw it, and I had got my CDL. My CDL was actually my way away from the streets, like away from because I was hustling and making money, doing this and that, and I was doing good, but I was still in an environment to where I was still, looking over my shoulders and, who did and this got to carry a pistol on me, and, because, things could happen when you just moving like that in the streets.
Absolutely.
And so I had to separate myself from the street. I got my CD. I went over the road for a while. Went over the road for a while. I'm out. I done changed my environment totally now. You know what I mean? So now I can kind of think about the future more, and I'm not just living in the now of making $1.
Yes.
And I ran into a guy. His name Marcus Pennywell. I always shout him out too. But he was like one of my first real mentors, and he was a black man that I saw actually doing it for the first time. Like, wait a minute, he at that time he had just 5 trucks, but I'm seeing him. He'll come up to the job and pay people and run things a little bit. And I'm like, man, what is it that he do?
Yeah.
After I came off the road, I saw what he was doing, and I said, man, like, can I come work for you?
Wow.
And he was just like, yeah. And I said, but here's the thing, man. Can you teach me what you do? And I
And
literally,
you said that right out the gate.
yeah. Can you teach me? But I understood. I'm still from the place to where I understand nothing's for nothing. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
You can't
yeah,
get
yeah.
any, something for any. So it was just like, okay, if you can teach me this, I'll work for you. I already got my CDL.
Yeah.
You know what I
You
mean?
took a big step by even asking. A lot of
Yeah.
people won't even ask.
That's what
Yeah.
yeah, they won't say nothing.
That's it.
I literally said, I want to be in your position
Yeah.
one day. And he was like, well, give me a year. He said, if you work for me for a year, during that year, I'll teach you this trucking business.
Yeah.
I'll put you in the truck and you can run for me. And I was like, all right, cool. He was like, save your money. And at the end of this, you can go buy a truck. I was like, all right, cool. I ran for him for that year. When that year was up, I literally was like, okay, I got 12,000. You know what I'm saying?
That's big, man.
Yeah.
So what gave you the mindset to say, because like you say, with the youth nowadays, we can give out as much game as you want to give out. How many of them are actually going to listen to the games?
Yep.
What changed your mindset to say, I need to listen to this dude?
Because I saw it.
Yeah.
I seen it. I seen what he had, and I seen how he was getting it. You know what I mean? And coming from where we come from, if you see a drug dealer with a new Cadillac Escalade in the car, we already know how.
We already know
there.
that. Yeah,
Exactly.
Absolutely.
But he had it, but he was out there, and I would see him come to the yard doing this, pointing people, and people walk up to him and listen to him. And I'm like, what is he doing?
Yeah.
And when I talked to him, he said, oh, I own this truck. And I said, well, I work for the company, and I know you're an owner operator. Can I work for you instead of the company itself? And he was like, yeah. And I told him, like, hey, this is what I want to do, man. I'm trying to be in your position, man. I saw he actually had a Cadillac Escalade. I said, I want a Cadillac Escalade.
Yeah.
Like what you driving, like what I'm driving, cool, but I see that you got it.
Yes.
But you doing it this way, and I want to do it this way.
Yeah.
But
And,
you know what? I'm going to stop you. I'm going to give you your props, too.
Uh-huh.
He the reason why we in trucking. You taught my husband how to drive.
Yeah. And can you know what it was? After Marcus showed me, I wanted to tell everybody else.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Especially the ones around me that come from the same area. You know what I mean? If you told me anything about you was struggling, I'd be like, get your CDL.
Yeah.
Get your CDL, go. And then he's already my partner. You know what I mean? That's gonna be a different situation from a regular person. So with him being my partner, it's
Free
man,
game.
get in the truck with me. Just get in the truck, man. We gonna drive.
Let me tell y'all. Y'all used to kill me. Oh, my God.
What they do, Chris?
You stayed in Louisville. We was in Seagoville, so you know that's a drive.
Yeah.
Y'all be on that truck. I got to go way across town to go get him in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
Oh, my
I didn't
God.
even think about that.
But nah, that
Yeah.
ain't the kicker.
What's that?
Y'all would never lock down and focus on nothing.
Nah.
One day y'all doing this, the next day y'all doing that. I'm like, what y'all gonna do?
You know, because I was still very sporadic.
You was.
As long as I was making money, it wasn't about no savings. It wasn't about this or that. It was like, say, bro, we made 3 G's
We
this
gonna
week.
get it, yeah.
You know what I mean?
But-
And it was I had more coming to me than what I've ever had. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so we blew through some money. You know what I'm saying? We didn't really have no direction.
No.
It was just better than doing the other options.
Right.
Yes.
But,
You know
but
what
I
mean?
used to tell him, I'm like, whenever Brian settle down and stick to something,
Yeah.
He gonna
both of
kill it.
y'all gonna be amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
And I watched the evolution, like, wow.
see, he settled down because y'all had each other. I'm still single in the streets. Brian said, I'm
You
still
just
for
talked
the
about that,
streets.
though.
Yeah, I'm for the streets. I'm for the streets. I ain't in the streets no more, but I'm for it. I'm for the streets.
We just talked about that, though. Yeah. You gotta.
Yeah. I was like, I need to focus. And
But I think that's the mindset of entrepreneurs. We're always thinking of different
Yeah,
ideas.
yeah.
Always thinking of different
'Cause it was-
ideas. Yeah.
I'm like, come on.
And I have always jumped to having different little businesses.
Yeah.
Like, okay, this is the business, but I'm gonna take one. I'm gonna open this business. I'm gonna open this business. But I think that's survival mode too.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Because it was a survival mode of I know I got this going and I'm making money for it, but you know, having one hustle is too close to none.
Right.
You know what I mean?
You
Like,
need to put that on the shirt.
Yeah, you right about that.
you know what I mean? You know, I need to have another hustle and another hustle. If this fall off, this gonna come through, and if this don't fall off, this gonna come through. So I spread myself in between a lot. So I was almost like a serial entrepreneur.
Right.
You know,
I would definitely say that's what you are.
Yeah, just serial. You know, even right now, I got this going. I'm like, okay, I can make some money doing this, but it's like I'm better with it. Even though I'm a serial entrepreneur, it's like now I know that if I have a real end goal, what the end goal is. You know, back then it was just about making money.
Right.
And, you know, make money, spend money, save money, just whatever. You know, but now I realize having like a long-term goal is really key. You know, and now that I know what I plan on doing, so even though I have different businesses and different things that I do, it's more of it's a quicker way to the means to the end because I already know exactly why I'm doing this.
Right.
You know.
So what made you focus? Like, what made you lock in? Even if you have multiple business, you got to be locked in somewhere. What helped you do that? What put you in that mindset?
Were you reading books? Were you listening to people?
Because we got people listening to us that want to know, like, what did he do?
It's reading, but for me, it was really the fall offs. You know what I mean? Like, you make so many mistakes, you fall off so much, and like I would say that I'm probably like the best bounce backer in the world, right? But I started bouncing backs from deep bounce backs. Like I done filed bankruptcy before. You know what I mean? I done had some major. I done seen my bank account go to the 6 figures and then lose all 6 figures. So I'm just like, okay, I know how to get it. I need to start figuring out how to keep it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so now I'm pioneering even into knowing how to keep money. You know what I mean? Like, and being less wild with my money is like, okay, being wild and doing this and doing that, you can't really do that. You need to have a little bit more structure. Or now I only spend money that's coming from like the earnings from an investment that I've made, and I just, you know, spending all my cash that I got. You know, so it's being more structured, setting like a accounting book, you know, just having something set up to where it's like, okay. But, you know, if I would say anything, the same way I said that, like, Damien, you helped Damien focus, right? For me, it was my kids. Okay. You know what I mean? Like, something had to settle me down a little bit. And then I started realizing I'm not just living for me no more, and I'm living for them. So I had to. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's like, okay, I need to be a little bit more, you know, structured. You know, settled. I need to teach them this and that. So I started realizing that, you know, even when I came out with the mentorship program, I started realizing, inspiring people and teaching people, like, wait a minute, even though I make money doing all this stuff, this is really my gift right here. And I didn't realize that until later. And even when I started thinking back. And, you know, I got a lot of people around me that are like Ace Boone Coons, been knowing since I was young. And, you know, I ran into another one of my partners. I got 2 partners named Terrence, and both of them say some good stuff about him. But I had one that he got his trucking company and this and that. And I didn't know that he started it because of me, you know. And he was just like, yeah, man, I got into this, da-da-da. He said, remember, like, 15 years ago, you were doing, he said, man, you inspired me, and you said this and that and that. I said, yeah, I remember. He said, yeah, man. And after that, man, I took off. And, you know, but I ain't never talked to him no more about it. But I realized I planted a seed. I dropped the seed on accident. You know what I mean? Just having a conversation about it. And I started thinking about different people in my past that have started coming to me saying that, oh, man, you did this for me. You told me this and you told me that. And I was
Make you feel good, man.
Yeah, and I started to feel like, man, wait a minute. Like, This really my gift. This really my gift is inspiring people. You know what I mean? Telling people the right way. Like, hey, man, do this, do that. You know, this is how you can get there. So, you know, I started getting more focused once I found my real passion, you know, on top of that, you know. So almost everything that I do now that's even a side business has something to do with teaching people. Yeah. You know what I mean? Mentorships, you know, the course thing, you know, your
TikTok.
Yeah, my TikTok. I get so much free information on the TikTok. You know what I mean?
Tell me the name of your TikTok.
Let's get a mindset.
He on it.
Follow me. Like and subscribe.
Go follow me on Let's Get a Mindset. Yes, indeed.
Wow.
Yeah, so, you know, I get on there and I try to give as much free information because really, like, even though I'm talking to social media and I'm talking to all these people, you know, followers, whoever come across my video, I'm really talking to that young version of me that's out there, you know, and I'm saying, okay, you know, it's not always about charging people for information. Cause to be honest, I feel like information is free. It's all around us. You just need to know about it. Yeah. Some people just need to know that it's possible. Yes. You know, so when I'm on there and I'm talking about government contracting, because my trucking led into government contracting, when I'm talking to them about it, I'm giving them the free information, like, because everybody ain't got $25,
right?
$50, $100, you know. And I might say something to the person that's just like me that if they hear it, they gonna figure it out from there. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? They'll figure it out like yo, what do I need to do? Okay, I can figure out the rest. He said that, I figure let me go through watch the rest of his videos. I've literally had people say, I never even bought your program before, but I've actually started my business, did this and that just from watching your videos. Yeah. You know, they watched my videos and then found a certain level of success and never even called me for a mentorship or never even did a consultation or never even bought it to the program. Just the information I'm giving for free. But I'm really sincere about giving real, full information. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Because a lot of people don't.
Yeah, nah, people don't. It's like, I'll give you the rest after you give me $1. You know? And to be honest, I get the information away for free for the people because I did search for information and couldn't find it. And then when I found it, I was scammed out of money and stuff like that, making those kind of mistakes.
I think we all have.
They paid for a course or something, didn't get it. But then once I learned it, I was like, you know what, I'm going to get this information out. Like you say, a majority of people is not going to, you know, go outside of that box. And when I first even started I gave it away for free. So my program used to be for free. And I had people like, there must be some catch to it. Why did he develop a program and give it away for free? Yeah. Because I was already making money over here doing this. I'm doing this to help people. But when I realized I have to put a price on it, because what started happening was I had so many people getting into the program, and then I could see their progress. They wasn't even logging in. They wasn't doing nothing, you know, with it, and
no investment,
no investment, because it was given to them too easy. Yep. And so I gave out my first 100. Out of that 100, 8 people logged in, just logged in. That's only crazy. 8.
That's crazy.
It was only 2 people that actually finished the program, you know, and left a review. Oh man, that was a great program. I'm so glad you got it to me for free. Yeah. But you know, having a course and having it online, it takes up bandwidth and space, and you know, I don't know the technical name for it, but I only had so much space, so I was like, okay, a lot of these people not even used. I got to start kicking people out to get the ones who really want it. And every time I kick people out, I get people back in, and now they sitting on it. Kick people out, people in, they not using it. Let me put a price on it. Right. You know what I mean? Okay, made it super. My program only $78, $23 a month.
Tell us about your course, though. what are you offering?
Well, it's everything in logistics, basically. You know, it's all my knowledge on top of all my mistakes. So
that's valuable.
Yeah, exactly.
People don't get that away.
Nah, exactly. And even inside of my program, you know, I'll be talking like this, like, hey, this is how you do this and how you do that. If y'all would just allow me a moment just to talk freely. Yeah. Hey, I'm gonna let y'all know. Even though you're supposed to do it like this, they say it like this. But you gonna run into some mistakes.
You gonna
you gonna run into some roadblocks. I did this. Don't do it like this. You know what I mean? Do it like this. XYZ. Save some money. Don't jump out buying a truck if you don't have a plan for what you're finna get ready to do with it. Don't do this. Don't do that. On top of, I tell them about the accidents that I had drivers have accidents. I told them, hey man, this is how to keep your money safe. You know, when you know you getting sued, because I done been sued. You know what I mean? Somebody
we
get
all have.
You know, this is how you keep your money safe. You know, because even though there's a lot of people jumping into trucking, a lot of them really don't understand. Like, they know the upside, but they don't know the downside. Yeah. But I don't want to say don't get into trucking, because getting into trucking is good, and it was how I made it to my next level. But people need to understand the risk of everything, every move that they make. So when they get into it, they not only get the course and the information, but they get my experiences as well.
So within this course, you said, what's the most expensive package you offer?
Man, the most expensive package, which is still not even expensive, is my one-on-one mentorship. But I can only take maybe like 10 people at a time.
Yeah.
And it's $1,500 for like 12 weeks. And
It's cheap.
I know it's cheap.
Right.
It's cheap.
I'm gonna give you some advice.
I'm
gonna give you my advice.
I'm listening. I'm gonna listen.
I feel like because if I'm that young entrepreneur that sees the success that you're offering and the opportunity that you're offering, $1,500 is not a lot of money to make me say, I know what he's offering me is going to be way more valuable than $1,500. Yeah. So I personally think $1,500 is too low, especially for 12 weeks.
But here go the thing: everybody's not accepted into it. It's not a welcome all. Anybody can come into my program for $1,500.
Yeah,
I need to have a conversation with you first.
Yeah.
Inside
I saw that on your website too.
Yeah. Inside of that conversation, I need to be inspired by you to make me. I need to have that feeling because I'm invested because I would do this for free.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. But you can't give it away.
But you can't give it away.
Yeah, you can't because
people are not going to respect it. Yeah, and they're not going to value it.
Exactly, they're not going to value it if it's free. And I feel like I found the price point that even if somebody, not doing so well in life can probably save up to 15. Because I'm looking at I'm doing stuff like looking at what's the savings for the medium income of most people. Most people ain't got $500 to $1,000 saved up. It has to be a little bit more than what they got. You know what I mean? So maybe about $1,500. And I'm not thinking of the value of the program because I've literally had people tell me, "Hey man, the value of your program." I did not
be 10,000.
Yeah. Could be way more.
Yeah.
I'm pricing it almost like like the same way income-based apartments would.
But you know what?
Like, what's the medium income?
Section 8 package right here.
That's good though, because I just remember when I didn't have any money and I'm looking for stuff like that. $1,500 was a lot to me,
Yeah, it's a lot.
It is a lot.
It's not a lot to us.
But just think about this. This is what I equated to. I remember when I bought my first course for network marketing, and that course cost me $300 to go to a seminar. Yeah. Now, note this is only a weekend seminar, so I'm paying $300. I wasn't locked in. Like I paid it. But I wasn't sitting there getting all this information. And I was on my phone. You know what I'm saying, doing other things.
Yeah.
My first expensive package, I was paid $4,000 for. I'm locked in.
What were you doing at the time?
What was I doing?
Like what kind of job? Like what?
I was in the oil field. But I took my income tax money because I wanted to make that flip, and I knew I could go out here and get a car and all that and act like I'm doing what I want to be doing. Yeah. But this course could literally take me to a whole different level if I saw the value in it. Yeah. Exactly. But I was locked in because I paid the money. Yeah. I think when people are serious about their future and they want to make that investment, they're going to find a way to get the money to do what they need to do.
But you know what's funny? I'm actually trying to figure out how can I make it cheaper.
Brian, you're killing me, Brian.
But I kind of agree with you, though.
Brian, don't do it.
I really agree with him because I just think about I think back when I didn't have nothing, and I'm telling you, $1,500 to somebody who barely making $500-$600 a week.
Have you seen social media?
I don't care about
everybody balling.
Everybody balling, yeah, but they really not.
Everybody balling.
They really not though.
And with it, because even with me doing a live, I was gonna say, okay, I can dedicate an hour a week. Try to, and actually I missed last week because I was out of town. But I could dedicate an hour to giving away some free information on live. Other than that, I got the A to Z Training Ultra. That's just $78.20, and that program literally has freight brokering inside of it, government contracting. I'm showing people how to get military freight.
Wow.
How to get their hazmat certification for the actual company, not just for your driver license.
Yeah.
How to get the actual registration for your company to carry hazmat.
In a lot of ways.
FEMA, how to sign up with FEMA, how to sign up with VA.
Yeah.
It's really so much information that people get into it. That after they get into it, they message me, bro, I didn't think it was gonna be this much. And I tell them, yeah, bro, it's probably about 70 hours worth of videos that I've sat and I recorded the videos, and
Took
I'm really
your time.
talking.
Yeah.
I took my time and put it together for you. Some of the videos might not be the best because I did everything myself. I didn't have a video
you doing
team.
it. But you doing it, yeah.
Exactly. You just need to get the information,
right?
You know, because I can't put this much information on here because it's not going to be valued, and it's just I don't know how I'm gonna be able to do it.
I'm gonna tell y'all what separates those who really want to do it and those who just BSing. Mindset. Like, if you're not ready, I don't care how much you pay. If you're not ready,
exactly,
you're not gonna do it.
Yeah,
that's all it boils down to.
Exactly.
But you ain't gonna waste your money, whether you ready or not, if you paying a lot.
But you know what's funny about the $1,500? I don't mind giving you the $1,500 back.
Don't give back.
You sure better not, man. We don't agree on that. You better not give him.
Because this how serious I am. I really want to see people succeed. And
absolutely.
If you, in a one-on-one program, I'm working with you. Like I'm meeting with you once a week, or maybe over the phone or Zoom or something, and then I'm giving you weekly tasks of what you need to complete for this week. Yeah. If I get to seeing you bug crapping, man, we 4 weeks in, bro. You ain't locked into none of what I told you to do. Yeah. I'm gonna charge you for these 4 weeks, but the rest of the money for here go your $600 back.
He's so nice.
I'm like, here you go, bro. This ain't for you. Yeah. Are you serious? I've had people like, I'm serious, man. You ain't locked in like I'm locked in because I'm caring about you know, some people get. I get a high off of somebody say, "Oh, I did, I became successful." You know, I had a young lady to get a $500,000 contract. You know what I mean? I had people get
testimonies.
Yeah, man.
Go follow him, y'all.
My testimonies is good. To be honest, I need to probably even start talking more about the testimonies.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Because my reviews on my program, just all good reviews. The videos I got people that send me video reviews I've never even posted that they gave it to me last year. You know, so I'm always getting that, but that's my money. Like, oh yeah, that's I'm powering up off the energy of people saying.
They draw people in. And other people
that does draw people in.
Of you.
And I don't want people to get it twisted and think that I'm saying go get all the money. What I'm saying is,
I get what you're saying. Yeah,
when you bring value. People invest into the value. The more people that you can get testimonies out of,
exactly,
is the better that you're bringing to the table. Because I would rather have 100 people that paid $4,000 for the program and actually said, "Here's my testimony. Off of this $4,000 I invested in Brian's program, I now made $500,000." Rather than 100 people that paid $1,500, and then only 2 of them say, "Yeah, I made $200,000 off the program." You know what I'm saying? Because I really didn't lock in. You know what I'm saying? Like that's where I think the separation comes, because just like when you were young and you had this go-getter mindset of, I got to go out here and make it happen. I'm surviving. I'm in survival mode. There are a lot, and I think because we live in this circle of we only know X amount of people, or we only socialize with X amount of people. There are a lot of people out in this world who thinking like we're thinking, but need a Brian to say, I'm like, this dude is really passionate. Like I feel bad if I don't give him the $4,000 for the program, because look at how passionate he is about giving me this information. Like I need this. This will change my life. So I appreciate him, and I want him to shout me out, and I want to show people how valuable his program is. Exactly. That's where I think when you start growing in a value, because we live in a society to where, you just said it earlier, if people don't see it, if you didn't see old boy pull up in the Escalade, come out doing this, you don't believe nothing he gonna say. He can't come up to you and tell you his story and you be like, you got to see it. That's just our mindset. We got to see
it. It is, especially with social media.
Absolutely. So I think once people see that my $4,000, I just made a new price for your program.
Y'all better get in it right now.
You better move
when
fast.
Y'all get on the website tonight, Brian price will be up. Today's price is not yesterday's price. So when I'm looking at it from that angle and going, okay, I see the success, I see the value, especially when you start dropping the testimonies from people to say, yes, I joined Brian's program. I did A, B, C, and D due to the information they give them, because you already giving out a lot of free information. So once you see those testimonies, that just makes your stock go up.
Yeah, you're right.
You
You're right.
gotta, because
You're right.
people are not gonna take you serious if they feel like everything you doing is for free. I need to know that I need to invest in him because he invested his time, effort, and energy, and look at all the success that came from that.
Exactly.
These people are this lady just got a $500,000 contract off of your information.
Yeah.
I guarantee if you came to her again and say, if I charge you $4,000 for my program instead of giving it to you for $79, would you pay for it?
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. I get it all the time.
Heck yeah.
I get it all the time. I had one student, he became successful. He's up in Chicago, and we were talking one day. He did a consultation with me because even though he did the program, he still he want to talk. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey man, how do I da. And he said, man, I ain't gonna lie, man. You could charge a whole lot more for what you're doing. And I always be like, I know. Like, I know.
What if you broke it down into packages?
I mean, it's just I could. I mean, that's what the $78, $23 a month for.
Okay,
It's a package. But that program, it's that program. I don't think people even know. People don't know until they get in it. And people don't know until they get it. They don't know until they get inside of it. Because people might hear that and say, oh, it's cheap, it ain't nothing. But the people who get inside of it, they'll message me and be like, okay, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Bro, I didn't know this, and this is going to be out from there. And I'll be like, the program, like I've told people this, the program itself, you could take the information out of there and create a business just from the program. Meaning, even if you didn't get into trucking, just knowing how to sign people up for their DOT, MC number, the compliance that you learn from it, even learning how to do the military loads. Like, I done learned how to get military loads. I can sell this I don't even got to get military loads. I can sell this as a package just to companies hey, if you want to get military loads, I'll sign you up for this and charge you $300, $400, $500. Yeah. I literally had a company that bought into my program and then said, man, don't you know I paid somebody $1,600 just to sign us up with the military and get us military freight, and you got it in here for this price?
Brian.
Yeah, and I'll be like, yeah, I know.
Brian.
I always say, yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. We're like, yeah, I know.
So I'm a firm believer that the more money that so for me, money is just an option to bring more value to what I believe in. I believe in helping people. I believe in showing people how to grow. The more money I make as an individual, the more opportunity that I can go out there and spread my word and my message.
I feel you there.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So the money is not because I need to enhance my bank account. The money is because I need to enhance my confidence in myself, knowing that what I'm doing is changing lives.
Yeah.
Now, I get rewarded for this. You can't tell Denzel to go play in the next movie and they only pay him $500,000.
You right.
He gonna be like, what?
But yeah.
What? Don't come to me. I need $20 million for one film.
We talked about this on our 10 steps to, what did we talk about? 10 steps to being successful or something like that.
Yes.
That was number 10, giving back.
Giving back.
Yeah.
And that's a part of why my price is, because I'm making a little money, but really people really don't know. After you pay fees for different stuff, and I'm really not making a killing on that, so that's why I still got other businesses.
I'm gonna have to come on your side.
I'm not making money.
You gonna have to charge more.
I'm telling you, bro.
I'm not really making a killing on that, and people don't even they might not realize it. I'm really just covering the fees of what the website and all that other stuff is costing me. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. So
I absolutely get it though.
Like
I was on the fence, so I'm like, nah, don't charge that much. But you can spread your word to more people if you charge more.
Yeah.
When I opened my first business, it was a nutrition club, and you buy shakes and teas from the nutrition club. What you normally spend? $20 for a shake and tea. I was in the hood with my nutrition club. You know how much I was charging for a shake and tea?
How much?
$10. $10 for the same value that somebody around the corner was charging $20 for. I was charging for $10 because I had, just like you, I want to give back. I want to give my people. I wasn't making no money off of this.
They didn't support it.
It wasn't even that they supported it. They didn't appreciate it.
I do get the unappreciators.
They didn't appreciate it because it wasn't valued.
Exactly.
I guarantee you, if I would have been charging $20 on top of the support, the motivation, the push that I'm getting when you come to the door. Because I've walked through other nutrition clubs and they don't even say nothing to you.
Yeah.
When you came in my club, what's up? Welcome, Brian. I'm glad that you came in, bro. Man, what's going on with your life this weekend? All that. I'm giving you all that energy, which is priceless. And we gonna grow. We gonna motivate. We gonna inspire you. I'm gonna wake up something in your mind and say, just like you're doing with these guys, when you say, pause, y'all. Can I be real with y'all? Can I tell y'all this? That's you giving that extra for somebody who probably doing the same thing you doing, but charging instead of $15, they charging $8,000.
Really?
And they ain't giving none of what you giving. You giving the real, I appreciate y'all. I'm gonna give y'all some real game.
Yeah.
You got to do more as far as the charge, bro.
And then, like, I do have an analogy, even for that, because there's a lot of people that can teach you something, or they tell you, a lot of information online anyway, right? But information is different from experience.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
So I give people information and I give them my experience. And my analogy for that is like, okay, we can live in Oak Cliff and you trying to get to downtown, right? And I can tell you how to get here. I can say, go to 30s, go down 35 till you get to here up to 30, you downtown, exit, this exit, and there you there. That's information. Experience is telling you, man, don't go there this time of the day. The traffic going to be on this side of the highway. Stay out of the right lane because all them potholes over there going to tear up your tires, And don't take that exit, take the next exit, because if you take that first exit, man, that light is long and it's the train right there. Take the next, go down. So that's the experience that I'm giving where I'm telling people, I'm going to tell you the way, but I'm going to tell you how to avoid hurdles and potholes and, to where you can have a clearer drive there and you can get there easier than, if I just told you, go this way. You know what I mean? So.
I think, and I think this equates to us as entrepreneurs coming from where we come from, because just like you just said, the analogy of information and the wisdom of, I'm going to give you more than just the information. I'm going to give you the blueprint of how to get there this way. We're newfound success in a sense. So we're so hesitant about, we want to win, but we also want to take care of everybody to where we don't just give the straight information. Because we can go outside of our culture for people who have ran business from generation to generation to generation. They go just straight give you the information. And you go take it like that, and that's how it is. You know what I'm saying? We want to give you information because
we care.
We care.
Exactly.
But from a culture standpoint, sometimes we care too much.
I get what you. I get what you're saying.
Agree.
We care too much. We've experienced this on an employee level for so many years to where we're pouring into employees, and then they burn you.
Yeah, exactly. I've learned those lessons as well.
Yeah.
I've learned those lessons that, of course we want to reach back and want to grab. And I've had those experiences where I've said, I want to point to, and those same experiences is might even what held me back. Those times it's like, hey man, I want to save my partners back from the hood. I want to do this. Like, hey y'all come on. But everybody really don't want to go. You know what I mean? But you trying to, hey, the promised land is this way. But instead of you showing them the way, they jumping on the bandwagon and you pulling it and it's dragging more weight behind you. So you're slowing your progress. So I totally get, you know what I mean, the not trying to do for the people that want to come. You know what I mean? And every now and then I come across that person. You know what I mean? Matter of fact, you're gonna be mad when I tell you this. I came across that person the other day, and he was so passionate about success and him making it and having fit. I saw myself in him. He started crying about, and he don't know what I'm got going at all. He just, man, I want to do this, and I was like, man, you gonna be somebody, bro, because you passionate about what you talking about. You know what I mean? Like, that's outside. He like, man, I just need to do this. And he said, I'm saving my money. He told me how much money he saved just on tips from the restaurant and stuff like that. Like, how much you save? Man, I saved $22,000, man. And but he ain't got. That's a lot of money to save on $3 here, $2 there, and this and that and that. You know, I'm just like, okay. He said, man, I'm working like 3-4 jobs. I cut her. You know, he got me with the cut her because I used to cut. That was one of my professions too. I just cut her on the side. So I had a lot of hustles, but cutting her with my thing too. And he got to showing me how he cut her and everything. And I was just like, man, you gonna. And I was like, in my mind, I'm finna get ready to mentor him. I already know it. You know what I mean? I like I'm figuring it.
But that's your give back.
Yeah, that's my give back. Yeah. You know, and so by the time I'm tossing, man, I'm gonna look out for you. Let's exchange numbers and everything you need to know. I'm gonna guide you. And if you have issues or you don't know this and that, just shoot me a text. I said, shoot me a text. If you call me, I might not answer. Yeah. But if you text me, I'm gonna know who it is. I'm gonna probably call you back. You know what I mean?
Right.
I said, I'm gonna help guide you. And I already had made it up in my mind. I said, I'm probably gonna mentor him for free. Like, I don't even want no money. I just want to see him. I know I can't do that for everybody. You know what I mean?
He can't be mad. He do it too.
I do it too. That's what I'm saying. I'm not. Trust me when I say this. I'm not saying increase your price because you want to get over on everybody. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying
the value.
Your value.
Yeah, exactly. But
the value. That's strictly what I'm saying.
Yeah, the value of what I'm giving everybody. It really is a value that's beyond. And even when if you go to my TikTok, even on one of my first, I have a review video that's pinned at the top. Mm-hmm. And even one of the guys even say that, man, the value is good. You know, I can't even believe he's selling it for. This is worth thousands. Yeah. He said that right
and there, that's what I'm strictly expanding on, just the value of it. Yeah. Like she said, I'm a firm believer in giving back. Like, I have so many guys in my phone. Dude just texted me today. Mr. Melvin, I want to pick your brain. I got some questions. Like, that's free game. Because I wish I had somebody who I could pick up the phone when I was young and say,
"That's what you know," and that's what it is. I'm giving back to what I've never had.
Yes,
but we do that all the time, whether y'all realize it or not.
Every day,
every day, we do it all the time.
Every day, every day, and it's important, especially for us from a culture standpoint. It's super important. But at the end of the day, we are, like Jay-Z said, we are a business. And the only way we continue to learn and grow and thrive as a business is we have to continue to be a profitable business.
Right.
Yes, exactly.
Because when we're not a profitable business, from a mental standpoint, it affects us.
Yeah.
I remember when I had negative $300 in my bank account and how I felt. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I know how I didn't want to go out there and motivate at the time. But when I got 6 figures in my bank account, I'm ready to go motivate somebody because I want to show you this is the roadmap to get to where I'm at. You know what I'm saying? So from a financial standpoint, it makes you feel better when you're succeeding, and it gives you an opportunity to go help others succeed.
Yeah, you're right.
Most people that are not built like us and who are just the devilish people who just want the money, they ain't giving back. They ain't giving no game. They giving you straight information. You don't want it, get out my face.
Won't even pick up. I get plenty of people that do get into my program, or if they call me for a consultation, they'll say, man, I paid this guy $2,000, $3,000. It was such basic information, and then when I tried to call him, he didn't even answer the phone.
Ain't even answer the phone.
He told me just go watch the video. Yep. he told me.
I went through that with people. Like, I paid people to do stuff.
Scams.
Exactly. And I'm so straight with people. I probably literally turned down more money than what I would probably. I literally said if I was just to start accepting everybody, man, I'd probably be a millionaire.
Be overwhelmed.
Exactly. Very overwhelmed. But I'll this one lady, she called me. She said she paid like $4,000 for this guy program. So obviously she don't mind paying if she see the value there. Yeah. She paid for it, didn't get none of the value, right? Before I talk to somebody, I mentor somebody, I said we need to have a conversation first, right? Mm-hmm. I need to know your situation. I need to know what your goals are. I need to know where you're headed and if I even can help you.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because if I can't help you, then it's just
I'm not gonna waste your time.
Yeah, I'm not gonna waste your time, man. I know it's not gonna work out.
Yeah.
After she told me everything, and I said, well, you talked to him about trying to start a box truck company and doing this and doing that, and I take into account even where you live. And a lot of people is telling people, oh man, get into this. Hey man, what you're willing to do on top of where you're at is going to make the difference if you're going to make some money. So she live out in the middle of the country, in the middle of nowhere, you know, just rural, just destitute, nothing out there, you know. And she's just like, I got some money from this and that, and I want to start and I want to get contracts. You know, I want to start this box truck, and I want to get contracts. I'm just like, okay, are you going to be driving? You know, or do you want to be a freight broker? You know, so there's a different strategy for every situation.
Absolutely.
And, you know, so I'm just like, okay, if you're in the middle of nowhere, you probably need to become a freight broker, and maybe you need to do more of the calling and trying to be the intermediate in between, you know, making things happen. But if you're trying to get a contract yourself and drive it yourself, and you in a location where there are no businesses there, it's not going to happen. You know what I mean? And some people need to be told that. You know what I mean? Like, bro, in your area. And the logistics kind of turned into government contract, because my logistics turned into me signing up with the government, getting government loads and different things like that. But I said, man, you know what you need to do in your area, if your goal, do you have a love for vans? No, I just want to make money. Okay, you want to make money. Okay, you need to get your LLC, sign up for government contract, sign up for your local government, see what the local government is asking for. Yeah. Stop trying to say what I'm going to do to make money. If it's a passion, I understand. Yeah. If it's not a passion, you're just trying to make money. Stop saying I'm gonna start this to make money. Listen to what they're asking for. Mm-hmm. In the area you look, they need people to cut down trees over here. Yeah. They need some tree cutter downers. Tree cutter downers.
Brian just made a whole new job title.
I think outside of the box, remember? I think outside of the box. You know, you got to create.
But you got to go to where the need is.
Yeah, go to where the need is. And I said, if in your area they need that, it might be best if you invest your money towards something that your environment is telling you that it needs, instead of trying to start what you want just because you see people on the internet. People on the internet, yeah, he's successful. He's in Chicago. They're in California. They're in the area in the city where there's a warehouse every block. You know, they need that there. You know what I mean? You in the area, they need some street sweepers. Y'all got dust everywhere. They need somebody to come and clean the streets. So they need, you know, if you over by the ocean, they need debris people. They need people to come and move debris when storms, you know, brush stuff up. And when the wind comes, like, you got to start thinking what you need in your area. Besides, you know, because of course we in Dallas, right? The trucking is going to be decent here. You know, we got Dallas, we got Fort Worth, Austin, San Antonio, Houston, you know, Oklahoma. We got so much.
Texas alone.
Well, you know, the freight for us is just going to be good. Yeah. Once I got into government contracts and I started saying, man, they got contracts for this and that. And then I did my first little small contract. It was for like some debris removal. I guess they tore down a building and they just need some debris removed. And I'm just like, I can go rent a dumpster, you know what I mean, and do this and do that. And then, you know, it paid like a couple $1,000s. It was just like a one-time contract. Yeah. And I was just like, oh, man, that was cool. Then, like, okay, let me look into this and look into that. And then I started putting the pieces together and started telling people, like, okay, yeah, this might not be good for you, but if you sign up, they're literally telling you what they want, you know, in your area. That's if you physically want to work yourself. Yeah. You know, now doing the whole middleman, you know, we're really subcontracting, but doing that, people are knowing it now as middleman. You know, to do that is almost like brokering. So when people say, man, I want to do the middleman or the subcontract and everything, and I'll be like, let me teach you brokering. Yeah. Because if I teach you brokering, you're going to understand what it means.
Well, at least he's being honest. Like, you know, he's an honest businessman.
Because I guarantee you the $4,000 that she paid for the other company, they ain't asked her none of this.
Nah,
they just saw that she had a lot of money, willing to give it away.
And he giving her ABC, that's it.
Exactly. Yeah. And after I talked to her, you know, and I told her, hey, sign up, do this, and do that. If you do that and come back to me and I see what it is, I'll help you from there. But from here, I can't accept you into my program. And she was like, for real? I can't help you for what you want to do, because what I'm going to do is accept your money, knowing that there ain't no contracts out there. And then what? You mad at me now? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I've even where we come from, right? Your name means something.
Everything.
You know what I mean? Like everything. Your word, like if who you are, you know what I mean? Like that's why, like if somebody talking bad, like, man, I gotta go knock him out because he talking bad, he talking down on my name. That's why that was a thing. You know what I mean? I believe in my name and my word. You know what I mean? So if I don't really believe that I can help you, I'm just gonna say I can't help you. You know what I mean?
But that's where your value is. That's where your value is, bro.
Yeah.
Like for real.
We've been going and going because it's so easy to talk to you. It is so easy.
I'm a professional
What you trying
yapper.
to cut us off?
Yeah.
Cut us off.
I am.
Okay.
Give us all your handles for social media.
Just let's get a mindset for everything, for YouTube, for what's that, Instagram. I ain't really to be honest, I'm really not a social media. I'm really just getting into social
got
media.
like
You're not
100 and some
but
thousand
he not
followers
on
on TikTok,
social
but he
media.
not a
Really?
social media person.
Really?
I'm really not like
Okay.
for real, like, but I'm on
Okay.
TikTok. Let's get it mindset for TikTok. I've started transferring my videos to YouTube and
Yeah.
into Instagram, so I'm starting to spread out now.
Yeah.
You know, I'm starting to do more marketing with it. You know,
Right.
you know, even though I've gained the 100,000 there, that's still just without no marketing. That's just me talking, and it just
Look at that.
Yeah,
Bro.
What to say? Look
That's
at
crazy.
God.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
You're going to have to increase your value. You know, I had to jump on that.
Yeah.
You have to increase your value, increase your price. So y'all better get it while it's cheap.
Yeah, you're right. Cause they gonna convince me. I
After
feel like
tonight.
they got
Yeah, 'cause when
Tomorrow
it-
prices
look,
is not gonna be today prices.
when this
Brown.
camera come off, we
Yeah.
finna talk.
Yeah.
But
But
Do these people know who y'all are yet? They don't know
no,
that.
they don't know.
They don't understand.
they must know.
They don't understand who they talking to.
It's okay.
I look up to these people. Like,
Okay.
they don't
Okay.
understand. Okay. They'll find out.
I want to give you this advice before we leave. When we think about entrepreneurship, one thing I've learned over the years is the leverage of delegation. I think the only way that you can survive what we're doing and continue to grow different branches from your tree, because you're only one person, you can't be everywhere.
Exactly.
You got to learn how to mentor the right person to delegate different tasks to build you a team. I think team is so important, and I know from us, coming from where we come from, we have trust issues when it comes to building teams. So, but I also believe there's always somebody willing to help your vision grow and be a part of your vision.
Yes.
So I would advise you to, because you got these ideas and you got so many great ideas that you're doing this and doing that and doing this and doing that. I think once you start delegating those tasks to other people, bro, next time we talk to you on episode 100, you're going to be on a whole.
You definitely got to come back. You definitely got
It's going to be a whole different level, bro. And, you know, you already are the type of person who loves seeing other people grow. That's why you're so successful. I think God blesses people who are a blessing to other people.
Yep, absolutely.
And with that mindset, it's going to continue to grow and continue to thrive. But I think you need to learn to delegate, to give other people an opportunity to help your vision go higher.
And I accept that.
Yeah.
I accept that.
Yeah.
Give us your top 3 tips for people that's trying to become an entrepreneur or who's already in it. Like,
Man, you know what? You know I had watched y'all show, right? I
Thank
went through
you,
and I
thank you,
binge
thank
watched
you.
all y'all episodes. I said I'm coming on. I binge watched all of them. Y'all really hit on some things that really are my top 3.
Yeah.
Which is the first is write it down.
Yes.
I write down, and it's actually weird that I don't got my book with me right now.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
in the truck, but I usually write everything down, and then having a goal. You know, make it up in your you know what your goal is. You know a clear destination where you want to go. Now you can write it down. You know, I always put in there talk to God. You know, because after I write it down, I know what I want to do. I talk to God about it and say, okay, God, you know, I know you already put everything you already gave me the tools to do this, but, you know, hopefully you listen to me. This is what I want to do. If there's something in this you don't want me to do, let me know along the way. So a part of that is, you know, have a clear goal, write it down, talk to God.
There you go.
Yeah.
Thank you. We
There you go.
appreciate you coming on our show. Our first guest, y'all.
First guest, y'all.
Let's get in
man.
mindset. Make sure y'all check in with us next time. We'll holler at you.
Yes, indeed.
Yes, indeed.